Welcome to week 165, Curated Conversation, Hope. A deliberate practice of hope for the entrepreneurial mind. I need a bit of hope. I feel like I've been unwell since the ball dropped, closing the door on 2024. I wasn't sad to see it go, yet sitting here in March of 2025, there's a certain yearning to turn back to what was known rather than facing what is ahead. Intellectually, I know we're heading into more sunlight, planting the seeds for growth, and the world is our oyster. But I'm tired, exhausted really. As I stood at my stove waiting for a pan of water to boil, for my 764th cup of tea, I stared at the pan of water. Have you ever stood by the stove waiting for a pan of water to boil? At first, the surface is calm, with only the occasional tiny bubbles rising to the surface. It's easy to miss these early signs if you're not paying close attention, but as the heat increases, the bubbles become more frequent and larger until the water finally erupts into a rolling boil. Standing there, witnessing this experience, I realize we could all use some hope. Hope has always been there for us, but the world has gotten loud, distracting us from the work that truly matters to us. My invitation for March is to focus on hope. To notice that, like watching a pot of water boil, our first signs of hope might be subtle, like those early bubbles. But with practice, we can learn to recognize and harness the power of hope in life and business. But what exactly is hope beyond this comforting analogy? Hope is a cognitive process. Hope isn't just optimism or wishful thinking. It's a cognitive process with two key components: agency thinking, your belief in your capacity to initiate and sustain actions, and pathway thinking, your ability to generate routes towards your goals. This definition is particularly empowering for entrepreneurs. Hope isn't just a feeling, it's a skill that can be developed and strengthened. Why noticing hope matters for the entrepreneurial brain. Many entrepreneurs I work with tell me they feel like they're constantly reacting to challenges rather than proactively navigating them, which is likely why running your own business can feel exhausting. Research shows that hope actually mediates the relationship between brain activity and the medial orbitofrontal cortex and symptoms of anxiety. Having a hopeful mindset changes how your brain processes stress and uncertainty. For the ADHD entrepreneurial brain, which often experiences heightened stress responses and difficulty navigating emotional regulation, hope becomes not just helpful, but neurologically protective. It creates a buffer between the challenges you face and how your brain processes them. When watching a pan of water boil, you may initially miss the early signs of change. But as you focus, you begin to notice the subtle bubbles rising to the surface. These early indicators signal that something is happening beneath the surface, even if it's not yet visible. Noticing hope in your entrepreneurial journey works the same way. Start by paying attention to the early bubbles of hope, small successes, minor improvements, or subtle positive shifts in your business or state of mind. As you become more attuned, these signs will become more apparent and frequent, like the increasing bubbles in the pan. Eventually, you'll reach a boiling point where hope drives your business decisions and actions. Scientists have discovered a fascinating connection between hope and the brain's reward system. When people experience hope, brain regions become active, releasing dopamine, a neurotransmitter that motivates and rewards goal-directed behavior. As you actively identify and cultivate hope, you're literally fueling the neurological heat that powers your entrepreneurial actions, exactly what's needed to overcome obstacles and stay motivated. Your entrepreneurial journey can transform from uncertain to purposeful as you learn to recognize and harness the signs of hope. This week, let's develop our hope spotting ability through a deliberate practice. I'm calling it the Hope Meter. Take a sheet of paper and draw a simple thermometer with markings from 0 to 100. Throughout the day, pay attention to the moments that could be considered early bubbles of hope, small successes, positive interactions, or subtle improvements. Each time you notice one of these moments, color in your thermometer. For example, move the marker up if you have a productive meeting, receive a kind exchange from a friend or colleague, or check something off your list towards a meaningful goal. At the end of the day, reflect on how your thermometer has changed. What patterns do you see? what moment stood out as particularly hopeful. Continue this practice for the next week, aiming to increase your hope temperature each day. This exercise trains your brain to actively search for and recognize evidence of hope, rather than just focusing on isolated challenges or setbacks. Just as those first tiny bubbles signal water coming to a boil, your small moments of hope are the precursors to significant change and growth in your entrepreneurial journey. Next week, we'll explore why hope is particularly valuable in entrepreneurship, especially those for neurospicy brains. I'll share strategies for using hope as a business strategy and leveraging it when facing typical entrepreneurial challenges. Until then, remember that the signs of hope are always present in your entrepreneurial journey. You're just strengthening your ability to see them. Here's to developing your hope spotting skills. My 2 questions for you this week are: how does hope currently show up in your decision-making process as an entrepreneur? And when you think about hope as a skill rather than just a feeling, how does that shift your perspective on navigating challenges? I'd love for you to reply and share with me.